here is the news on Friday the 27th of Geldorf. Archaeologists near Mount Sinai have discovered what is believed to be a missing page from the Bible. The page is presently being carbon dated in Bonn. If genuine, it belongs at the beginning of the Bible and is believed to read, "To my darling Candy, all characters portrayed within this book are fictitious and any resemblance to persons living or dead is purely coincidental." The page has been universally condemned by church leaders.
Hello and welcome to episode 17 of the Godless Smegcast, with me, your truly Godless Smeghead.
And me, Sid.
Hello, Sid.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm too busy laughing at you at the moment, so...
Well, of course, you're not the only ones that's bloody laughing at me. The start of this podcast has become an absolute bloody travesty, hasn't it? But there you go. Okay, thanks to everyone that's been listening. Thank you for downloading and listening to the last episode with Sid. Quite a few have listened to it. We've had some great feedback on it. So thank you very much for that. How are you feeling this doing your first proper show, your first proper interview today?
Well, with the way it's going, I can't make it go any worse.
No, it's just going to go downhill from here. Yeah. Right, without further ado, I'm going to bring on two gentlemen who have been following on their podcast for quite a long time now. Really enjoy the podcast. It's called the History of Misunderstanding Podcast. They review... I've never been able to get this right, lads. Is it misunderstood, misaligned, or simply missed?
It's maligned, mate.
Maligned. Why am I saying misaligned? Smokey and Stephen from the History of Misunderstanding Podcast. Welcome to the Godless Smegcast, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. How's it going?
I'm doing okay. Sid's okay, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not bad. Not bad.
Cool. Been looking forward to doing this for a while, lads. What have you been doing today? Working?
I have. This is Smokey. Hello. Yeah, I've been working today, and we just come down here to do this lovely, lovely show with you.
Fantastic.
I don't do a lot of work, so...
No, he does bugger all. No,
I know you're lazy bugger, aren't you, Stephen?
Yeah, I try and do the same and just make it look like I do something.
I like to think I'm selective.
Procrastinating. Okay, tell us a little bit about your podcast, first of all, guys, because it's not your run-of-the-mill film podcast, is it?
No, not really, I suppose.
No, definitely not, no.
Well, it originally started out as being a little tool to try and stop Smokey feeling so lonely and upset, and he was in some bad situations in his home life and work life and everything, so I agreed to do the podcast with him, and I never thought it'd see the light of day, to be honest. And then eventually, after we recorded a year's worth, we decided to release them.
We had to play catch up for about 12 months. We released a load of episodes. But you're right, though, it's not a usual movie podcast. We do movies mainly that people haven't really heard of, and just try and make it funny, basically.
Yeah, and the other good thing that I love about your podcast is you spend the first kind of 10 minutes or so giving shout-outs to other podcasters and other people whose podcasts that you enjoy.
Well, yeah, I mean, the sort of what we call the indie podcast, the independent podcasters. I mean, there's so many great shows out there, yours included, of course, Godless Smeg.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Don't worry, plenty of bum licking going on here. But
that's a fiver.
Yeah, no, it was a tenner. He said a tenner. Anyway, so yeah, we each exactly. So we wanted to just, we want to make sure every episode that anyone who tweets or messages, I'm sorry, we do use Facebook as well. Anyone who gets in contact with us gets a mention, and that's how you got mentioned on the last couple of episodes as well.
And as it happens, we do realise that a good percentage of our audience is other podcasters.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But I learn every day from other podcasters. I've learned from yourselves. I've learned from Adam, because I know that you both really like the Herd Mentality podcast.
Well, yeah, you can learn from Adam how to do it and learn from us how not to do it. Yeah. So it kind of, middle ground.
Yeah.
Well, I think Godless is showing you how not to do it today.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the last 10 minutes, yes. But
yeah, he's doing well today.
It's the beauty of editing, Sid. That's what it's there for.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, I'm with the interview or whatever we're doing.
No, I haven't listened to all of episode 24 yet, but I have been listening to it. And I've just got one thing to say to you guys. Talking of things...
Oh, nicely done, sir. Isn't that a piece of genius?
It is a piece of genius, yeah. I mean,
a piece of fucking genius. Yeah, that's one of our things in our lexicon that you will learn very quickly. But yeah, talking of things, that's a delightful thing to say.
Now, I have to admit to you, I haven't seen The Place Beyond the Pines, and I know over the past couple of episodes you've kind of been... You've seen it, haven't you?
I have seen it, yes.
What do you think, Sid?
Different.
Different is an excellent way of describing it.
Yeah, it wasn't quite what I expected.
No.
I actually hope I'm thinking of the right film here. Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, when he's the stunt motorbike rider who robs banks.
Yeah.
And then halfway through, it becomes a second film.
Yeah.
Loosely connected to the first.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of sense, mate.
But I watched Drive with him in it as well.
Yes.
And that was different. And there was another one with a singing cop. He's set in Japan.
So, sorry, Sid, did you say cop?
Cop. Yeah, not cock.
Just a second.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about Godless.
Oh.
I never knew he sang.
Except I can't sing.
Yeah, that's true. But I can't remember what that film's called. So.
I can do impressions, though. What? Right, the singing cop in Japan.
Was that Only God Forgives?
Yes, that's the one.
That's ironic, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that is one of the weirdest films I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is a bizarre movie, that. But I really liked Drive. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, Drive was alright.
Just so bloody violent. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I tell you a movie I saw a couple of weeks ago that I really enjoyed in a surreal way, and that was Killer Joe.
Oh, the McConaughey movie.
Yeah, William Friedkin movie.
Yeah. Well, Friedkin needed to do something good after Bug. Did you ever see that movie?
I didn't see Bug, no.
Bug.
Wasn't it dreadful?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he needed to pull something special out of the bag, and with Killer Joe, he did it. I mean, it was fucked up, but it was enjoyable though.
The one thing that unifies the four of us is the fact that we are all ardent Red Dwarf fans.
Yes,
it definitely.
You could say that.
Excellent.
He couldn't say it.
I couldn't say it.
Ardent Red Dwarf fans. There you go.
Yes. Well said.
All right.
I'll edit that in later.
Okay, good.
Right. When did you guys first start watching it?
With me, it was the very first episode of the very first series when it was first transmitted. I remember having to shuffle into my parents' kitchen and sit on a rather uncomfortable chair from the dining room in order to watch it on a tiny little television. And that was it. From then onwards, just caught it. No, fortunately, it wasn't black and white. So, fortunately, I got away with that one. But no, it was a tiny little telly, but I managed to get every little bit of enjoyment out of it.
For me, it was the first episode I saw was Backwards, series 3. It was. Yeah. I think they'd shown an advert on BBC Two for it at some point, and obviously, just seeing the whole thing, obviously going in reverse is I don't think I'd ever seen it before. What year did season 3 come out? That was
89, I think.
89. So I was 7 at the time. So it was sort of like it was a new sort of thing for me. And I was hooked straight after Backwards. It was. I mean, that's an incredible episode.
Yeah, Backwards is great. I love Arthur Smith in Backwards.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen the YouTube video Backwards Forwards, what he actually says.
Yes, yeah. Some useless bastard has rewound this to see what I'm actually saying.
Yeah. And you're all a load of crap, bollocks to you. Goes out the door, knock knock.
But then that episode's also good because it has an appearance from Tony Hawk's as well.
Yes.
Red Dwarf.
Yeah, he's the compere, isn't he?
He often appears, yeah.
He's been in it a few times. Caligula, of course, and so that was.
That's legend. I love it.
And he was the voice of Talkie Toaster.
Yes.
Howdy doodly doo.
Don't do that again.
We had that question for you. Do you want some toast?
Yes, please.
But I've never heard of anyone doing flapjacks in a toaster.
No, that's true. But hang on, do you mean the Talkie Toaster in the White Hole episode?
Yes.
That
was David Ross, was it? Or was it Tony Hawk?
David Ross was...
Crichton.
David Ross was Crichton, but he did play Talkie Toaster in one of them.
Oh, right.
Talkie Toaster was used more than once, though.
Yeah, he was.
Oh God, we're geeking out here, aren't we?
He was used in...
I can't remember the episode, but I know he was used more than
Season
once.
7.
There you go, you say.
Oh, well, there you go.
Was
it Tika to Ride?
No, it wasn't to Ride.
Think you might be right on that one.
Yes, it was, because Crichton was... No, Lister was... Anyway, something happened.
We've broken it.
I honestly did not recall it being in Tika to Ride. And was that David Ross, or was it Tony Hawks?
I think there was 2 different voices used. One was David Ross, and the other one was
Well, I know it was definitely him in White Hole, but I'm not sure about Series 7.
Sid's got the DVD out at the moment, the insert, looking at making Tika to Ride.
Oh, right, and it looks like Stephen's Googling this as well, so it's going to be a race.
So we will get this settled. I mean, I can just...
So this is where we all just don't talk, because we're all...
I was going to say, Smeg, you're going to have to edit this like fuck.
If I let this go on, I can picture Crichton K raging at his iPhone, going, "For fuck's sake, you know what it is!" That's the idea.
appeared in Series 1, a deleted scene from Series 2.
Are you on Wikipedia?
And in Series 4.
God, we've derailed this fucking show, haven't we? Really sorry, Smeg.
No, it's fine.
So yeah, multiple appearances there.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're still none the wiser.
Never mind, it's just one of those.
So
things.
no Series 7?
It was made by Crapola Inc.
Well, we know that.
Yeah.
The only 2 actors to do the voice of it were John Linehan and David Ross.
Oh.
Right, so I was talking crap. I was talking complete crap with Tony Hawks.
Oh, you were wrong, yeah.
He was wrong, I wasn't wrong.
Yes, yes.
So used to it being you that's wrong.
Oh, fuck you.
David Ross and Tony Hawks were the go-to guys when they needed spare parts, didn't they, really?
Oh, God, yeah.
Tony Hawks played the suitcase in the hotel.
Yes, he did, yeah.
Yes.
That goes to America Camp.
And wasn't he in Better Than Life as well? Didn't
Yes.
he play?
Yes.
He played the guide.
He was the host of the game, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played.
God,
the
I haven't
host.
seen those episodes for a long time.
I think probably my favourite. It's kind of a cameo. My favourite cameo in Red Dwarf, apart from Brian Cox in Stoke Me Clipper, because he's one of my favourite actors ever. But my favourite cameo has got to be Timothy Spall.
Yes.
Back to reality.
Yeah.
Back to reality. Love it.
That was awesome. I did like that. I mean, that's great. But I mean, was it what was his name? What the hell was his name? Who played the Inquisitor? Was it
Craig Ferguson?
No, he was Confidence and Paranoia.
Yeah, Confidence and Paranoia.
Confidence and Paranoia. Who played the Inquisitor?
It was the guy who had the chat show on Channel 5. What's his name? Jack Doherty?
Jack Doherty, that's it. Fuck me,
That's it, yeah.
Not to correct you on an earlier podcast,
Well,
Mick.
Yes, thank you, yeah.
Didn't Craig Ferguson play Lister in... Oh no, who played Lister in? The American Redwoods.
Oh, Craig.
That was Craig Bierko.
Craig Bierko, that was it, yeah.
Craig Bierko. I thought you were going to mention, was it Jake Abraham? Because he played Lister in... Fuck.
Oh,
The Inquisitor.
Yeah, it was the
No,
Inquisitor.
it was the alternate Lister.
The ultimate Lister.
Yeah. And Lister's
The other-
brother played Lister in Time Slides.
Yeah.
That's right.
He was in Smeg and the Heads.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Greatest band ever.
Classic song.
It is.
Favourite episodes, guys?
Go on, mate.
Polymorph is one of them, definitely.
Yay.
It's,
A man after my own heart.
the problem is, really, it's like asking a mother with 30 kids to try and pick her favourite, because there's so many episodes that are just absolutely stellar. So pick a favourite is incredibly difficult, to be honest.
Okay, here's one. What's your least favourite?
I didn't expect that one to come. Well, Smokey can tell you his favourite while I try and think about that one then.
Fair enough. That sounds like a deal. I think it would... I mean, again, yeah, mine changes as well, but I think I would have to go for Marooned.
Great episode.
Good episode, yeah.
I mean...
And for Wood.
But if you listen to our podcast, please do. If you listen to our, then you know that we kind of like sort of script-based heavy movies. You know, a lot of talking going on, and so Maroon for me sort of satisfies that sort of script-based lust that I have.
Well, yeah, it's almost a play, isn't it?
Well, I know Craig Charles said it would make a great Red Dwarf live show, and I think he's right as well. I think it would work.
Marooned is everything I love about Red Dwarf. You know, action notwithstanding, it's the character work between Lister and Rimmer, the bunk room scenes. I love them.
Of course, yeah, they're awesome.
Well, it's a sitcom. That's you know, fair enough. It's got the space element in there and everything, but that's just the background. It is a sitcom about an odd couple.
You've just given me an idea there, lads. Actually.
Uh-oh.
No, it's okay. This will just gestate in me. No, carry on. Sorry for interrupting you.
You can't keep that to yourself. Come on.
Edit it out at least, but tell us what it is
first. Yeah.
I've thought about actually doing that before, turning like Marooned into a play or something, or doing it for YouTube, just me and another actor or something, doing Marooned, our interpretation of it.
Do it as a podcast.
I suppose we could. I suppose there's nothing stopping us if you wanted to be Rimmer and I'll be Lister.
I don't think I'm going to be Rimmer.
Alright, I'll be Rimmer then.
Thank you.
I'll be Brian.
You're the uptight one.
I can be annoying.
Yes.
Without even trying. All I've got to do is open me gob.
Aww.
Don't R him.
He's trying to get the sympathy vote, isn't he?
Yeah, it's not
That's
working.
all he's doing.
It's not working. The number of people who listen to him, and apparently he's got a chocolatey voice and all this shit.
I agree.
I don't think he deserves any sympathy considering the amount of people who have been listening to his episodes and the great start he's made.
I thought you were going to say listening to his excrement then.
Yeah, that's why they think you've got a chocolatey voice.
Oh, you cunt.
But no, I think you've made a great start of being the podcasting. I mean, me and Adam and a few other people you spoke to before you started it, getting advice upon things. And we encouraged you to do it, and you've gone ahead and you've done your own thing with it, and it's worked out, and the number of people who are listening to it and enjoying it, you can't anyway knock that. You've done a lot better than we did.
All right, his head's going to explode in a minute.
Yes, I'm not going to be able to get through the door. No, it's been... I do it purely for fun, mate, as I know you and you guys do. I know you guys only do it for fun.
It's fun, is it?
It is fun. Shut up, you. It is fun, yeah.
You know, and that's what I love doing about it, because it just gives me the opportunity to speak to two people who have probably never spoken to before, and learn things about them, and kind of, they become friends.
Well, the amount of friends we've made, I mean, other podcasters particularly, our pod pals, as we've got them in a group, and the friendship we have with those, like they speak to them more often than we do friends that we live in the same town with.
Pretty much.
And how close we feel to them, it's really weird considering a lot of them you've not actually met in person. I mean, we originally, when we were talking about doing this with you, we were talking about maybe driving over since we were only an hour away, but in the end, it still feels like we're friends, even though we're communicating across a wire.
What, in your opinion, lads, is the funniest line or the funniest moment in Red Dwarf?
Well, I mean, I think my favourite line I have to give is, unfortunately, again from the same episode, but it's just the sort of shock and surprise of Rimmer saying that he was once Alexander the Great's chief eunuch. I mean, it's so out of left field, and you think he'd be as like something real female and be a sort of foot maiden or something like that, but no, he's a fucking eunuch, and it's awesome.
Oh yeah,
it doesn't get much better.
No, it's classic episode, and some great comedy in there, some great comedy lines, and great comedy acting from both of them.
It's perfect. I mean, it is a two-hander, and the way they sort of bounce off each other, and it's just great. And then, and then just sort of like, you've kind of been a full member of the golf club then. It's just, it's
I've forgotten about that.
Yeah. You didn't pay any green fees or anything like that, It's just...
Well, the bit where he asks about when Rimmer loses his virginity, and Rimmer's going on about how he lost it in a car, and he says, "What was it like?" And he went, "Oh, it was beautiful. It was a Bentley convertible."
The panelling, marvellous machine.
Stephen.
Difficult to say because my memory for anything is quite shaky. But I do still going back to to what you said the other day, the T-shirt having about twatting it.
Oh,
it's just
let's get out there and
twat it.
I'm wearing that one at the moment.
Classic.
Yeah, you are. You are wearing that one
Yes.
at the moment.
What, you bought it off him?
No, it's his own.
Fine.
Oh, isn't that nice, sharing clothes?
That's sweet, isn't it?
Oh.
I haven't got that T-shirt
That's not all we share, but we don't go into that.
Hey!
Hey!
I do have to give some love, though, for... because nobody's mentioned this yet.
Okay.
The Rimmer Munchkin scene.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny because it's just totally unexpected.
Yeah.
I mean, watching the cast members with the makeup on in Rimmer's fantasy acting that way is one thing, but having a Munchkin Rimmer coming along and singing a song to you is quite another thing. And I remember first watching it, Stephen, you probably did the same thing in 1998. We probably all did, but it just came from left field, as you say, and it was just fantastic.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You're trying your best to try and remember the lyrics. So the next day when you're talking to people about it, you can try and recite it, but it's just awesome.
Well, it was good that you used the full version on your show the last time, Smeg, because when it gets to the end and he's trying to find words that rhyme with Rimmer,
fade out, you stupid blimmer.
He actually uses the word blimmer. It's just genius. It really is. I mean, Series 7 in my mind, I know you've talked about Series 7 with a few people, and I honestly think it's really underrated. I don't think it's that bad at all.
The more I watch it, the more I like it.
Yeah.
At first I thought it was an okay season with some very funny moments, but, you know, I kind of see more to it now. You know what I mean?
I think the problem is in reflection to what came before it was struggling to hold its own because the previous 3 series particularly were so stellar, really, that they had a bit of competition there. But even a weak Red Dwarf episode is much better than the best episode in a number of other comedies, particularly some of the stuff that comes out of the States, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, some of that, the How I Met Your Big Bang Mother and all this kind of rubbish that are just labelled as comedies that don't rate at all. It's just weird, you know.
Sorry, was that How I Banged Your Mother?
Something about How I Big Banged Your Mother.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is more funny than the actual real TV shows. But, yeah, that's what I say. It's like I say about David Bowie. The weak songs from David Bowie are still much better than a lot of stuff you hear from elsewhere. It's just that they're weak by his comparison, and you expect better, so they get bad press sometimes. And it's the same with Series 7.
Yeah.
People were expecting so much more. They were expecting this trajectory of going up as episodes went and the series went. They expected it to keep going, and it didn't manage that, but it was still fantastic.
Well, it's like any TV series. It's like Dexter. You hit Series 4, you've got a high point. You're never going to beat it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and Series 7, they tried to change too many things.
I see where you're coming from, Sid, but Season 6 of Dexter was awesome.
You mean the faith angle that they had?
Yeah. That was a good season, but it was nowhere near as good as 4.
I have to agree with Sid on that. Season 4 of Dexter was just the best season, the whole Trinity thing.
I agree, and it was an absolutely awesome season, but I haven't been let down by a season of Dexter yet, but I haven't seen Season 8 yet, so I may be let down by that, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah, you're going to cry.
Absolutely no spoilers, and I mean that.
No. I have managed to avoid them so far, and but I will be watching it soon.
Right. Okay, make sure you do.
We can have a talk about that one when you do.
Yeah.
Too right, mate, and I will let you know if I did in fact cry.
Are you guys Breaking Bad fans?
Yeah, see, this is a little bit weird, because everyone we know and everyone we talk to or interact with are huge Breaking Bad fans. I have only watched 4 episodes of the first season, and just turned it off through sheer boredom. And I don't think you've watched any, have you, Stephen?
No, I've not had the opportunity to, but Mrs. Smokey is a big fan, isn't she?
Mrs. Smokey is a big fan, and she is pestering me constantly to carry on and watching it. But that start to the season was so dull.
Persevere with it, it does get much better.
Every single person I speak to has said that to me, and I will. I'll have to give it another go because, a billion Chinese can't be wrong. It's got to be good. So.
Well, I think you're just at the beginning of season 2, season 3.
Season 3. Yeah. It's a slow burn.
Yeah,
definitely. But it's worth it.
Okay, I will. Just for you lads, I will give it another go.
Okay, right. I was going to ask you, Stephen, when you were talking about Series 7 towards the tail end of that, just bringing it back, what was your opinion of Back to Earth and Series X?
Well, me and Smokey differ on our opinions about Back to Earth.
Yep.
Give
your opinion.
Well, my opinion is that it was necessary because what happened with it was that it showed all the things that they shouldn't be doing, and therefore when they did do Series 10, Series X, they actually corrected a lot of those things, and I can completely accept what Sid said about it being too glossy and the appearance of Series 10 not being classic Red Dwarf. But other than that, I felt the writing and the performances was back to some of its best.
Oh yeah, I mean it had some of the best comedy ever.
Yeah. Back to Earth, I think, would have been a lot more acceptable to a lot more fans if it had been just a singular episode. And it wasn't a singular episode, it was stretched out over 3, and it didn't have enough in it as a concept to be able to be stretched that far out. And its mistakes were glaring, and although I can watch it and not be as critical as some other people because I see what it led to and see how it corrected itself, the franchise, Smokey has no time for it whatsoever. Do you? You hate it. Be honest.
I'm sorry. I've heard you guys' opinion and yours as well, Smeg, and it's just, I'm sorry, it's shite. It is an absolute big bag of bollocks, and I really have no time for it whatsoever. I would have been so happy that it doesn't exist whatsoever.
The good thing is, if you take it in context with the series, you can ignore it.
Yeah. I mean, there is no continuity that bridges 8 and 10 that has Back to Earth that means anything. So that's what I choose to do. I choose to ignore it and put it in a dark little corner by itself, and I'll just watch 8 and 10 quite happily.
I was going to say, but the thing was that it being produced not by the BBC, although Dave is part owned by the BBC, it was produced by a separate TV station to bring back the franchise, and the appetite for it and the fans snapping it up, and it bringing some new people in, to be honest, and then there being the criticism of it from fans about what it got wrong, meant that they could then do Series 10 and do the entire 6 episodes, which they actually then were able to get it right on. Imagine if they hadn't have done that and they'd just leapt into doing Series 10 and every episode in Series 10 had been the same standard as Back to Earth.
Yeah.
It just killed the entire thing. Whereas it brought people back to it and allowed them to get into Series 10. So I'll forgive it in that small way, although it was in many ways shite.
Yeah.
How can I put it? I think there are parts of it that are quite admirable. For example, I've said this before on another podcast, as you probably know, Smokey. The scene where they're in the department store and Lister's sat at the table and Rimmer's on the bunk, or vice versa. That harks back to the scene in Marooned and the early bunk room scenes. I really like that. I like the bit where Rimmer was dancing to James Last while the guys were getting attacked by the Joyce Squad.
I didn't enjoy that.
I thought that was hilarious. But both Sid and I have both gone on record, and it's sacrilege to some people, but neither of us can stand Blade Runner. And Blade Runner was an integral part of the whole episode.
It was.
And a lot of it went over my head, because although I've managed to watch Blade Runner all the way through once, I can't watch it through again. I did get most of the references, but they just seem very contrived.
I see where you're coming from, mate, and I definitely see the Blade Runner connection. That's fine, but I mean, if you're saying those good bits that you pull out of it, which is fine, that's good, but the shit bits far outweigh the good bits.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I mean, who thought that it was a good idea to make Lister meet Craig Charles.
Yeah,
That was ridiculous. And also putting him in a tiny fucking car and painting it green. No, I'm sorry. It ruined it. It was no.
I just didn't see the point of the whole nosemaker guy. You know what I mean? When they go to see him.
Yeah.
Well, again, it was shoehorning in the references to Blade Runner.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I hate Blade Runner.
See, I'm a fan of Blade Runner, but I felt it relied too heavily upon Blade Runner as a reference point, so that if people didn't like Blade Runner or had no awareness of it, it meant nothing to them, and that was the problem with it. If it had been a singular episode, like I say, it wouldn't have been a problem if you'd missed some of the references or you didn't like Blade Runner or whatever. It would have just been, it's just an episode that I'm not so keen on, or I didn't quite get those bits. Whereas it'd been 3 of them and it'd been the start of the comeback, it failed, unfortunately.
But then also the fact is that this is an international show, and what American or Australian is going to give a shit about Coronation Street?
Yeah, that occurred to me as well. I've got to be honest.
That you're alienating people by doing that, and I don't really see the point. So then you go back to the sort of quote unquote generic style of Series 10, then that's golden, that's bonus, because you don't say it anywhere real. That's excellent.
I did like in Series X, though, how the episode Lemons did piss a few Christians off.
Oh, that's always a bonus, mate.
Well, I said before to Smokey, long before now, that I'm surprised that you've not used that clip at any point in your show. or the reference to the Bible first page being found on the news item. I'm surprised that neither of those you've ever...
I have used it on... I have tweeted the link a few times to that, but I've not used it on the show.
Maybe it was too obvious for you and you're much more subtle than that.
Oh, he's not.
I'm not. I would have used it if I had the temerity.
Right.
But unfortunately I didn't. But I may just use it on this one. I may just open it up with that clip.
Well,
although if you do...
edit out this conversation.
Right, okay. Last Red Dwarf question, then we'll move on to the atheism. If you both were stranded on Red Dwarf with only one cast member, who would it be and why? And I've got to thank Crystal for this question because it was better than my other one.
she had an awesome episode with you, though. That was great.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, she sounds lovely as well. It's great.
Oh, she's an angel. Well, no, she's not an angel, obviously. She's a star. She's a star. She's good.
Like when I keep referencing atheist people and going, oh, bless them. No, I shouldn't say that.
Stop blessing people.
No, but I can bless people because I exist, whereas, when the... God blessing them.
We're getting on to atheism.
Yeah, that's the next section, yeah.
Next section.
Go on, mate.
I would say that, like most people, I think you would have to go for Lister because he's the person you could have the most fun with.
Yeah.
You could just enjoy a number of just fun pursuits. If you're into drinking, the drinking, or playing the games, or just head around on the bikes in down the corridors, or just doing stupid stuff. You could just enjoy your days rather than with the rest of them. I don't think there'd be the same fun element, and you'd need to be having fun with somebody every day.
That's true.
So yes, for me it'd be Lister.
Well, can I just clarify some parameters of your question?
You're going to say...
Shush! Cut that, you fucker. So, are we completely alone on a desert island?
No, you're alone on Red Dwarf.
Alone on Red Dwarf, but there's nobody else about?
No one else around, just you.
Then it's
still one cast member.
It's Kachansky.
Which Kachansky?
It's Chloe, innit?
Yeah, I prefer Claire.
What about Pete Trance's sister?
Pete Trance's sister.
But she was never on Red Dwarf, so that
doesn't matter. She was still in the programme.
Oh, okay. No, I'd still go for Chloe Annette, I think.
In that outfit.
What about the Channel 9 weather girl?
You can't see what she's doing with a pointy stick. So, Chloe Annette from Series 8. She looked better in 8 than she did in 7.
Now, therein lies a dilemma, gentlemen, because, Stephen, you've said Lister, and you've said Kachansky, Smokey, understandably, because you want to procreate and have as much sex as you wanted. But everybody's missing Crichton, because you would be weighted on hand and fucking foot. Well, and you wouldn't have to do anything.
And he has got a Hoover attachment.
But you got vending machines for getting food from, haven't you? And,
That's
and
true.
Stuff.
Yeah, but like Sid said, Crichton's got a groinal attachment.
Yeah, but the thing is, unless you're really, really hung, that groinal attachment won't really do anything for you, will it?
Well, it'll work for me then.
You lucky bastard.
Groidophilia. Each to their own. I don't mind alternate sexuality, people. So if that's what does it for you, appliances.
Well done, Sid.
And,
We're learning more and more about you.
Well,
Yeah.
you know.
Is that why you haven't got the Wi-Fi yet? Because you've been spending your money on other things?
You should see the amount of IKEA catalogues he's got in his flat, I'll tell you.
Are they all put together?
The Argos catalogue. Oh.
Oh, shit.
The white goods section is all stuck together, is it?
Who needs Viagra, eh? When you've got the Argos catalogue.
Double Polaroid every time.
Right.
Triple Polaroid.
Well, yeah.
And you've only got half a Polaroid to start with.
That's at full stem.
Let us move on to atheism, because not only are you ardent dwarfers, you are ardent atheists too.
Stephen, more than I am. I'm kind of new to the whole thing, really.
Well, you're new to your awareness that you are.
Well, it's kind of hard to describe. I mean, I've known for a long time that I am an atheist, but I've actually through the help of yourself, Speg, and through Stephen, and through Adam Riggs at Herd Mentality, I've been getting into it a lot more recently. It's becoming a very interesting sort of learning experience. But yeah, I've always kind of known that I was an atheist, but I'm just getting into it right now, really.
I originally, when I came on Twitter and sort of accidentally fell in. I mean, I've been on Twitter with my own account separately to the HOM one. But when I sort of seemed to fall in with some of the more militant atheists over in the States particularly, through the account, it started being more and more with me awareness of the fight that needs to be gone on to counteract all the neocon Christians. So that was one thing that came out of it. And as I presented it to Smokey about us being involved with the secular FM and such like, he originally was just like, oh yeah, whatever, that's fine. I've got nothing against that. And slowly he's become more and more sort of attached to the cause, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
That Irish band, of course.
Run away.
Yeah.
Just don't get involved in his puns, Meg. You're better than that.
But, I mean, I think of myself more as an anti-theist, really, because, I'm sort of really against the concept of a God, and that's, where my standpoint comes from. It's a lot more that even if somebody could prove to me that say the Christian God existed, I'd be hell-bent against him because he's such a cunt. And I don't believe he does exist, or they could ever prove he did, but if he did, then that'd be my position on it. I'd dedicate my life to bring him to justice. But, it's more that I grew up not having any religion at all. I mean, I went to a school where they had assembly and they sang hymns, and at the age of, I think it was 9, I said to my dad one day about them singing the hymns about God and me saying, well, I don't believe in God. And he went, well, just stand there and don't sing. Just don't make a fuss. Don't upset anything. Don't be seen as being naughty or out of that. Just don't sing. And if they question you about it, then I'll come and have a word with them. But otherwise, as long as you're not causing any trouble, you just sort of stepping away from doing it, as it were. Just stay quiet and everybody else can sing and you can just stand there. And that's fine. And from that point onwards, that was my standpoint as far as religion went on, as far as my upbringing. I never had anything forced upon me, thankfully. I mean, I don't know about you, whether you were schooled with any form of churchy stuff.
Well, I mean, no, I went to, I think you said to me, did you go to a C of E school?
Went to a C of E primary and a Roman Catholic secondary.
Righto. Well, it's kind of similar for me. Definitely went to a C of E primary school, sang hymns, assembly, same as you guys. It didn't really do anything for me, but it was when I went to secondary school, and it was non-domination. There was nothing there to sort of suggest it was heavily religious. But yeah, I just sort of never really believed in this big bloke in the sky who supposedly took care of everything. And then sort of mid to late teens, read the Bible, thought I'd give it a go, and had no appeal whatsoever. And then sort of early 20s, read the Quran, thought I'd see if there's anything there. Nothing there at all. And then, but in my mid-20s, I became a Satanist.
Ooh, me too.
Really? The teachings of Anton LaVey?
Oh, yes. Yes,
Yeah,
I've read that book many times.
Yeah.
I've also read the Satanic Bible.
Yeah, but what a tool he turned out to be.
Yeah. I blame Marilyn Manson for my turning.
Really? I blame Slayer for mine. There you go.
Iron Maiden.
How did you know I'm wearing my Iron Maiden top?
Because you only own one shirt that doesn't have Iron Maiden written on it. Every other shirt you own has Iron Maiden written on it.
Yeah, but no. So I became a sort of I'd say a sort of practicing Satanist. I wasn't fully into it, but then the more I read the Satanic Bible and the more I read people who were opposed to Anton LaVey, it just became clear that that wasn't for me either. And so yeah, I'd say for a good long time now I've definitely been an atheist because it makes the most sense.
What was your opinion? You as well, Stephen. I mean, neither of you have ever really truly believed. You've never been theists, so to speak.
Never been theist. I was for quite a long time actually. I was in at least had Buddhist sympathies.
Yeah.
But that's an anti-theist belief system, really. I mean, it's not about worshipping anybody, to be honest. So that is more of a philosophy in my mind, and I still have I feel an affinity to it in a philosophical sense, but not in any way in a theological sense, and that was never the case for me either, to be honest.
Well, for me, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it was the way I was brought up or the sort of the scholastic system I was in, but that was never really apparent. I mean, it never really showed itself that way. It was only when I started looking for it that I started to find out the fallacy of what I was looking for, of realizing that you don't need to look for anything. If you believe in people, you believe in us, and you actually think, do you know what, we're actually pretty good on the surface of it all, then why the fuck do you need to look for something up there?
Yeah.
I honestly, and now as, you know, being a 30-year-old man, I don't get that in the slightest.
Well, the thing I don't get is all these Christians and people are saying, you know, look up to God because he's the Almighty, he's the great, and if mankind is made in his image, then he must be the biggest fuck-up of us all.
Well, this is right, yeah.
But it's very interesting to use that word almighty, though. I mean, almighty in doing what? What has he done that is proved
He
that...
did a massive almighty fart, and that's what made the first hurricane.
Maybe. I mean, the Almighty were a great metal band, but, you know, that's completely... Yeah, but that word almighty, what has he done that's almighty?
Well, it's that question, isn't it, that I was presented with when I was in my teens by an IB teacher at school, weirdly, that was saying about that classic question of there's children dying who are innocent in Africa of starvation, no fault of their own, they can't be in any way attributed to it being responsible for this. So if there's an almighty God that is all-powerful, all-knowing and all-loving, then why is this happening? It's either because he doesn't know it's going on, but he could do something about it and would want to do something about it, or he don't give a shit, even though he knows about it and can do something about it, or he knows it's going on, wants to do something about it, but hasn't the power to do anything about it. So all three of those things can't be true, otherwise they wouldn't be suffering of innocence.
Yeah, it's the Epicurus quote, isn't it?
So that...
He just seems really, if he does exist, he just seems really fucking lazy.
Do you know what? I mean, you heard the episode with Cherokee Autumn and Godfrey World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I happen to agree with Shay on this. If there is a God, which I don't think for a minute there is, but if, you know, there is a God, it would be a deist God. It would not be the Abrahamic God, so to speak.
Yeah.
Either that or the theory that there was a creator and he died.
Well, there's the other theory as well that that gods in general as a manifestation are created by people's belief. And the more people that believe in this, it gives more power to this thing existing as a force, as a being, And so when the worship falls off and people stop worshipping, the power diminishes to the point where they no longer exist, and they become possibly, they're just the nature spirits and all these kind of things.
So
belief system.
What you're saying is God is in effect Legion.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's the same thing. Yeah. Unless there's the belief there in it, it doesn't exist.
There you go. We all flew away, and he stopped being. There you go.
I just wanted to say, bless you, Sid. That was awesome.
Good analogy, actually. That
Absolutely, yeah.
Excellent.
But it still brings it down to the fact that it's not a creator. It's not something that we in any way have to look at in that respect. And if it was, even if there was a God that was a creator and was responsible for everything that happens, then you've just got to turn around and say, well, what a fucking shit. You must be a complete fucking arsehole. That doesn't deserve worship and respect. You actually deserve our vitriol and hatred and us to fight against you for what you are.
As an atheist now, looking back, as I have read the Bible since I became an atheist, I look back now and I think to myself, why the fuck did I believe all this shit?
Indoctrination.
Yeah.
Exactly. But maybe the whole solar system was basically God playing marbles.
No, he was playing pool with planets.
No, it wasn't invented back then.
Wicked Strength Lager wasn't invented back then.
Lager.
Oh, it is now, sir.
Oh, yeah.
I am not pished.
Not gonna mish.
Not mish.
Oh, that's one of my favourite episodes. Sorry, we're drifting into... But sometimes Red Dwarf and atheism do go hand in hand, because obviously there are references. We've mentioned lemons earlier on as to what Doug certainly thinks about religion.
Yeah.
But there have been references, like we mentioned before, Dear Candy.
Yeah.
I wonder whether Rob and Doug are actually atheists or not, and if they ever do come on the show, either of them, I would like to pin them down and ask them about their religious beliefs, or lack thereof.
I think they're probably representative of the British population under a certain age, where the majority of them aren't believers. They aren't in any way religious. They do find it, if anything, a joke, or at least anachronistic, as something that isn't worthy of staying away from for the sake of jokes. I mean, it's something to be taken the piss out of, and particularly, I know they're older than I am, but they're still below that age limit that it seems the majority of believers are, who aren't in some way the newborn, like, evangelical Christian kids who get caught up in it. And so I wouldn't imagine that they're anywhere different to the rest of us in this country, where we just don't have any real respect for these belief systems, and being secular, we think it's worthy of taking a piss out of.
When I became an atheist, I never knew what a secular country the UK was.
Very much. I think you can see that every day now, and that's a great thing, though.
I thought we were a religious nation.
Well,
I really did.
I think the last census had us. It was over. If you include people who didn't actually respond, didn't put down any actual answer to the question, who just decided not to answer it because of whatever the reason, if you include all of that, it goes over 50% for people who don't have any theistic beliefs. And I mean, unfortunately, being the country we are, there are still entrenched things within this country. There's laws that say that they have to have religious teachings within school, which is, the wording of it actually, if you look carefully, it says that they must provide it. It doesn't mean that pupils have to go to it. But we've got the Lords Temporal, voting on laws that we make. There's several of those in the House of Lords and stuff. So there's still these anachronisms in there. But as a country, as a belief of the actual people, we've got no real attachment, no joy to us, to a belief in God. And thankfully, at the very most people who do believe are, like you say, a deist, rather than actually having any allegiance to a particular book, or they at very least take the Bible as being, an interpretation that for them to just loosely take, rather than actually believe wholeheartedly in every single word of it. And you can't do, because it contradicts itself so much. It's ludicrous that anybody could believe it, the amount it actually contradicts itself.
Yeah.
That's the stupid thing, really.
I would go so far as to say that the UK is mainly... Actually, no, I will rephrase that. I'd say England is mainly an atheist country, but most atheists are apathetic atheists. Most atheists don't know that they're atheists. They just don't believe in God, but they don't classify themselves as atheists.
Yeah, it's passive atheism. Yeah. Because we're not aware that there are still the tendrils of the religious establishment in lawmaking and such like this, that we don't feel the need to fight against it or to reject it or to do anything like they are unfortunately having to do in the States and stuff, particularly some of the southern states where you are in the Bible Belt and it's the worst thing you could do would be come out as an atheist. You'd be better off coming out as transgendered or homosexual or anything, having an interracial relationship or all these things that all the white neocons hate. The worst thing you could do was come out as being an atheist, and we don't have that over here because you automatically assume that everybody you meet, at least I always have, I've always assumed everybody I've met is an atheist, and occasionally you get surprised by meeting somebody who is a Christian, say, and you go, oh, right, and you've got to suddenly rework your mind because you don't expect to be meeting people who are Christians or, or anyway religious, because they're unusual. It's unusual to find them, particularly below a certain age mark. That's the thing.
I've got a colleague at work who is, I think he's 40 now, and he is a big believer. We've had many arguments.
Somebody I work with, he came out as being, he'd made some statement, and I made just a joke, in knocking religion, just in something reasonably innocuous, to be honest. And he turned around and actually then said something about Christianity and referenced something about God. And I went, what do you mean? Do you believe in God? And he was like, well, yeah. I was like, wow, I've not met anybody who does that for quite a while. And he was like, what do you mean?
I mean, it's weird, isn't it? I mean, being atheist, you've got to try when you talk to a Christian or something to sort of get your head round what they actually believe. Because you think to yourself, well, why? Why do you believe in it?
Well, it's like somebody said, I don't know, I can't remember where I heard it before, but it was that somebody discovered that somebody was a Christian who was coming to their dinner party, and just before the dinner party was actually started, they were going to sit down and eat. They turned around to this person and said, do you need some time with your invisible friend first before we eat? and that's the kind of attitude it is. You just sort of, in this country, because we're not so militant against it, we tend to be a bit more tentative around it, and we just try to be understanding of somebody that's got an imaginary friend almost, or like Stuart Lee said, it's akin to having a bit of a mental illness, to be honest, that you're a little bit simple, you've got some form of mental impairment, and so you just kind to them.
I think the problem is all these people, they had an imaginary friend when they were younger, and as they grow up, their friend disappears, so they need a new one because they get lonely.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. I'll tell you something, though. Yeah. I'd rather have Drop Dead Fred as my imaginary friend. That'd be awesome.
Hello, snot rag.
Oh, there you go. You got a Rick Mail impression as well. I am still here, by the way. I just wanted to find that out. No, but it was. I do just have to say, all three of you are talking complete bollocks because, as we all know, Lister is God.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. No. According to Timothy Spall, Lister, the ultimate atheist, turns out to be God.
Yeah.
Kickstarts the second Big Bang with jump leads from Starbuck.
There you go. See, I'd rather believe in that than this other nonsense.
Well, it's more believable.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least you can actually see it.
Too bleeding right. Well said, Sid.
I think, lads, I don't know about you, but the best defence you have against any theist is the book that they believe in.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course.
There's a picture I saw on Twitter the other day, which I've seen a number of times before, but it's one that, somebody, it's a quote of, is it Asimov or somebody over quoting, saying that the biggest weapon you can have to turn people into atheists is to get them to read the Bible, because it's such a a tool against the actual belief system itself. It's amazing. It's no wonder that Catholics, for so long, the Catholic Church, didn't want people to read it for themselves. They wanted priests to be interpreters of it, because if people read it for themselves, they'd realise what a bunch of crap it was.
Well, yeah, I mean, they could just cherry pick which parts they wanted.
Well, that's religion in general, but I mean,
well, yeah, of course it is, yeah.
It's in no way an example to follow, and it's not even a well-written story. It's so inconsistent and contradictory that it's not even, if it was well-written, I could understand how it managed to fool so many people for so long. I could understand that it was a clever trick. It's not even that clever. It's not even original for a start off. It's copied from the sources of Mithras and Osiris and number of other...
Attis and Dionysus.
Yeah, so it's not even original shit, you know.
It's just shit.
Yeah.
And we're not forgetting the Council of Nicaea.
Well, exactly, yeah.
Which basically decided whether Jesus was divine or not.
Yeah, and they said, all right, we'll go through this checklist, right? Well, is he divine or no? Reincarnation? No, we'll get rid of that one, right? And it just went through, and tick list have decided what to keep and what to not keep.
Well, it's like the whole New Testament. Why the fuck did they need a new one?
If God,
you know what I mean? If they believed it so much, why have a New Testament?
Yeah. If he's infallible,
100 years ago, here's the second draft testament.
Yeah.
Have this one now.
If he's infallible and he knows everything that's going to happen, and he has a plan and all this kind of shit that they had from the Old Testament, yeah, why did they need a New Testament? Why couldn't he get it right first time round?
Do you guys remember 10 years ago or so there was a series with Christopher Eccleston called The Second Coming?
Oh, bastard! You brought that up. I was going to try and spring that on you in a bit.
Yeah. I think that the Third Testament that they had, I mean, this is spoilers for anyone who never saw it. If you haven't seen it, please fast forward the next 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But the Third Testament was stop believing in God and do it on your own. Basically.
The reason I wanted to bring it up, Smeg, is because you're a bloody Man City fan, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
And wasn't he a Man City fan in that thing?
He was, even though Christopher Eccleston is a United fan in real life, he was a Man City fan in that, and it's a night in today over Main Road.
Okay, this is something which I have never understood, right? The Bible says that God gave man free will. Gave man the choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So why does the Catholic Church feel it necessary to make you believe in God?
I thought you were going to say it gives us free will and he chooses to support Man City, but okay, fair enough.
Well, yeah, there is that, but
No.
Sorry, Smeg.
Doesn't the Catholic Church? I mean, I'm talking about more in the fucking Dark Ages, but doesn't that fundamentally undermine one of the teachings of the Bible?
Well, how can God have given people free will and already have a plan and predetermination of what the universe is going to be?
Yeah, exactly.
Can't be the same. I mean, it's like, God has then therefore planned that people were going to sin, and therefore he was going to have to then sacrifice his own son or himself for those sins, and therefore the sins shouldn't exist anymore. And is it really of any relevance that an immortal being has sacrificed themselves but still lives? Where's the sacrifice? So it all just doesn't...
None of it makes sense. None of it.
He dies and comes back a zombie that doesn't eat people.
Blade Runner makes more sense.
Now, zombies are much more believable than the Jesus myth.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Dogma?
Oh, yes. Very familiar with it. Love it.
You remember there's a scene where Bartleby and Loki are talking, and Loki says that Bartleby's starting to sound like Lucifer with the way he's speaking, and his whole diatribe is about how pissed off he is that God gave humans free will, but he didn't give it to angels.
Yeah.
Which I think is brilliant. And so he gives them free will and the choice to not believe in him. But then the thing that the angels are most pissed off is that they can't drink alcohol.
They can't imbibe, no.
So I think that, I mean, obviously that's not doctrine, but I just think that's a perfect fucking example of the hypocrisy that it is.
Yeah, but to be honest, if God turned out to look like Alanis Morissette, I'd start believing.
Well, do you know what? If God looked like Alanis Morissette and I had two prophets that were Jay and Silent Bob guiding me through life, I'd fucking turn, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'm not sure I'd be so easily persuaded.
Oh, well, I'm just a simple creature, Smeg. I'm sorry, mate.
You see, Smeg's been there, done that, got the T-shirt. But no, I think you're right there with what you said before about using Next Generation as being a basis for morality better than using the Bible. When you've said that before, I think you're completely right.
Oh, don't give me Star Trek crap. It's too early in the morning.
Nice Dwarf quote.
Thank you, sir.
So you can bring Dwarf into everything in life, can't you, really?
You can. And Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it would be a great... instead of learning the Bible, watch Star Trek. It's a great introduction to morality.
I'd go back to school.
Yeah, I would. Star Trek school. Bill and Ted school.
Yes.
Bill and Ted school. Wild Stallions.
We've said that before, that if you had to stick to one philosophy in life, it is we are Bill and Tedists.
We subscribe to the theory of Bill and Tedism, which is just be excellent to each other.
And party on, dude.
Well, yeah, that's fine, but be excellent to each other is good.
Be excellent to each other's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
That's awesome, isn't it?
But it's amazing, isn't it, that Gene Roddenberry created this fantastic series, and it went on to have such a great impact, and particularly has a good moral reference point, and yet it's just a franchise of science fiction, whereas L. Ron Hubbard wrote some shitty books and about science fiction and managed to create a religion out of it.
Yeah. Which I'll never understand.
I think.
Is it just me, or does Scientology resemble the first few levels of Super Mario?
Holy fuck!
Now there's a quote. You need to put that on Twitter.
No need to put it on a fucking T-shirt. That's all.
Oh, he's not monetizing this.
I will then. I'll buy it. That's brilliant.
No, but it does. It's just stupid. I mean, fucking, there's an alien soul. I'm not in control of my own body, you know, guys. There's an alien soul inside me, and that's where I get all my neuroses from, you know. It's fucking, I just do not get Scientology.
No.
And it's only something that I've been aware of in the last, 7-8 years. Before I'd heard of it, but I never really knew anything. I knew Tom Cruise was one, obviously, but I just thought it was a crackpot religion, but...
Well, I think for a long time people have thought Tom Cruise was one.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this, Meg, I was vetted for Scientology.
Were you?
Well, this is how me and Stephen met. We worked at a picture framing store, believe it or not. And that's how I met. And one day a woman comes in, she's got a load of pictures to be framed, and she wanted to wait. She didn't want to go away and come back. She wanted to wait, and so I was doing it for her while she was there. That sounds wrong, doesn't it? But you know what I mean. And while I'm framing these pictures for her, she's asking me a ton of questions that are not your normal everyday questions.
Before I worked there, wasn't it?
No, you were there, but it was your day off.
Oh, right.
And,
I would have picked up on it straight away.
I know. And so I didn't know what was going on. I was just answering this woman's questions and frame all the pictures up. And it turned out they were for a new Scientology temple that was opening up in New York. And so I went, well, did I pass? And she went, no. And I was like, well, I didn't even know what I was going for. I said, is it because I mentioned Tom Cruise in the first 30 seconds? She didn't have a sense of humour, bless her. But there you go. Oh, no, don't bless her. But there you go. You know what I mean.
Oh, my God. That's just crackpot shit, isn't it?
It's fucking weird is what it is, mate.
You guys presumably know about Lisa McPherson.
I don't, do you?
I've heard the name.
Lisa McPherson was a Scientologist. She decided she wanted to leave the Church of Scientology.
Yeah.
She was in a hospital, and Scientology took her from the hospital to a hotel room. I think she spent 4 days there, and she died.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
There were bites all over there were lacerations. I don't know what happened in this one room, but she died.
Yeah.
Google her. Google Lisa McPherson. And then, of course, we have Tommy Davis, who has disappeared into oblivion for the past couple of years, but what a fucking embarrassment he was.
That's a new one on me, mate.
Tommy Davis, did you see the Scientology and Me documentary with John Sweeney?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Right, essential watching. It's on YouTube. It was, I think it's 2008 it was recorded,
Right.
but John Sweeney famously lost his shit at the end with Tommy Davis, who was the official spokesperson for Scientology,
Right.
and Archer's son.
Oh, right, okay.
And he famously lost his shit at the end, but if you actually watch the documentary, it's shown in context, and how he didn't lose his shit before is actually miraculous.
Something about this is ringing a bell,
You'll
but...
have seen the selected clip of him losing his shit, but not the rest of it.
Yeah, but as we were saying, Speg, I'm just learning all of this, so this is great to hear all of it, because I'm going to be looking up all this stuff, and this is awesome.
Yeah.
Although he won't remember it now, I'll have to listen to the episode before he remembers.
Well, that's true.
Right, write it down. Who are your favourite Twitter atheists?
Go on.
My favourite Twitter atheist, what was it? Godless Meg? Something or other.
Stop it.
I can't remember his name.
No, I mean, you don't really use Twitter, but you are a fan of Ra, aren't you?
Oh, dear fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, did you hear that bit in our episode where we extolled the virtues of Lady Ra?
Yeah, I did get up to that bit. I heard you talking about Ra, yeah.
Could you hear it run past my knee?
Yes, I could, and it was, you were saying how she was a posh girl with a...
I love it when a posh bird talks dirty, mate.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, fuck, it's fantastic. Yeah, she's great. But
Yeah.
no, I'm very rarely on Twitter, so apart from your good self and Mr. Adam Reeks, or the flirty devil as I call him, it's... have you heard his show when he gets a woman on?
I know, he's a silver-tongued devil, isn't he?
Well, he is a little bit, but he just turns into a flirt monster. It's like,
Hello, Adam.
Adam, you've got a bird at home, but listen to him, go.
You can almost hear the music in the background, the soft music, can't you?
Fucking Australians, mate, they don't let it lie, do they?
No, and he has got a chocolate voice.
Oh, he has, yeah. He's very good at what he does, absolutely. He's at the peak of his game. I mean...
God, thank God you said voice at the end of that sentence. I wondered what you were going to say there.
You know, I like what Tanner Campbell does with the No Godcast and stuff. And
Tanner's awesome. He's great.
But, yeah, Adam, you know, I just have that right balance with what he does.
And he's got a great Ray Comfort impression.
Really good. It's fantastic. But no other Twitter atheists. I mean, there's a massive list of them. A lot of the people that you've actually interviewed on this or are going to be interviewed, I follow and actually have involvement with as well. I think it's just part and parcel of me being friends with you means that we share these other friends. I mean, one of the people I'm closest to though is Jen August.
Jen, yeah.
I mean, she's done some sound bites for us for our show, but just sort of direct messaging and stuff elsewhere and emails and stuff. We sort of keep in touch beyond just sort of the simple timeline. And I've got a lot of time for her, definitely. As I said, there's numerous ones out there. I mean, along with plenty of people that you've actually already interviewed, you know, Marvin and Atheist Blobfish and such like that. Yeah, absolutely. There's so many of them out there. I mean, we do a particular friend follow every Friday to make sure that we sort of promote as many of them as we can. And obviously we're involved in the secular FM thing as well.
Sure, yeah.
Which has brought us into contact with some that we didn't already particularly follow. But there's so many out there that are actually, you know, just great as people beyond the atheism thing. It doesn't even have to be that they're talking about atheism. They're just talking about shit, and it just works out that they're just decent people with something funny to say. A lot of them are very funny, and that's the great thing. I mean, with you, you don't have to be talking about Red Dwarf or atheism, and you still have been funny at least once.
This is a rarity for me.
I missed that one.
You haven't got Wi-Fi, you see, so there you go.
I tell you what, Smeg, he gives it with one hand, he takes away with the other.
He fucking does. Sid isn't really active on Twitter as he's kind of like you, Smoker. He doesn't use Twitter much. He leaves all that shit to me.
Right on, brother.
Smokey's use of Twitter is solely, apart from getting me to follow Vanilla Sky for him, the wrestler.
Velvet Sky.
Sorry, it's Velvet Sky. You see, that's how much I'm on. Apart from that, his only use of Twitter is when people mention him to us for our account, mention him or tweet him, he actually, then I send him a text telling him what they said, and he sends a text back, and then I have to type it in for him. He doesn't even tweet himself, he gets me to do it for him.
Hey, it works, doesn't it? I've got myself a secretary. It's awesome.
Yeah, it does mean I can slag him off mercilessly and make up things from his account and get away with all sorts of shit, and people think it's him saying it, but it's not, it's me.
It's not, it's him.
And he gets the blame.
No, Stephen, to both of these guys, I really think they should use Twitter more because it's brilliant, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Once you start...
I've looked at it 3 times today.
Well, that's 3 times more than me, Sid.
There you go.
You've got the app on your phone, you just never open it.
No, fuck that. I will do eventually, I will.
If you got PC or maybe, iPad or whatever, Smokey, a really good app to download is TweetDeck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it gives you, it's all on one screen. It gives you your timeline, it gives you your mentions, it gives you what you've tweeted, it gives you your direct messages all on one screen. It's really, really good.
I do appreciate that. I will do that later on.
Yeah, TweetDeck.
Once you get the internet, it'd be nice.
Yeah, all right.
Once they invent the wheel.
Well, I've already got fire, so we're off to a good start.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the end of part 1 of episode 17 of the Godless Smegcast. We covered quite a few subjects. Part 2 will be coming in the next few days. The call lasted, 3.5 hours? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that, but I did have to go early.
Yeah, so that's a slight spoiler. Sid does drop out of part 2, but Sharon actually sits in for him and tweets in a few little things during the, well, not tweets, but, says a few things during the podcast, and hopefully you'll hear what she sounds like. But, yeah, hopefully the next part will be up in the next few days. Did you enjoy recording?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a really good time.
Yeah, Steve and Smokey are cool.
Yes.
But, like I say, 3.5 hours we ended up recording, and we could have gone for hours more. So, we hope you enjoy the first part of this podcast, and keep a lookout on mine and Sid's timeline for part 2, and we'll see you soon. Bye!
Bye!
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 16 of the Godless... Sorry, I'll fuck that up. It's not episode 16, it's episode 17. Click! Take 2. Thank you. Neil fucks one more up. Okay, right.
Oh, brilliant, well done.
One more time. Don't you dare
That means to go on, eh?
Yeah.
Shut up, you lot.
Episode
Sorry.
It really isn't as organised as it looks. Right, okay.
What do you mean it looks organised?